Yeah. Yep. So basically the
Yeah,
gist of the Jonah Goldberg article here recently that stirred up quite a bit of a mess with saying that military working dogs get left behind, right?
yeah. So Cindy Campbell sent me this email, Mike, and I sent you a text shortly after she had gotten this email alert from. Let's see here. I'm looking at the email right now from the Care to Petitions team. I guess this is a group that brings attention to things, and the whole title of it was these. They're saying that these military dogs risking their lives in conflict zones, and many are abandoned instead of being brought back to the United States. This whole that was the gist of it, which is completely ridiculous. Like as soon as I read it, I knew it was ridiculous, but I want to call Mike and just have it confirmed because if people are so. I mean, obviously people love their pets, and they're going to get. It's such a hot point, and
Sure.
just to mislead people like this, to think that this is happening is just it's worse than the whole situation they're claiming
Yeah.
that exists in the first place. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the unfortunate reality is that there's been a number of stories like that here recently, and but frankly, since 9/11, since the use of military working dogs has skyrocketed pretty dramatically. There's been a lot of misinformation. Some of it is a little more, I would say, elementary in that it's the dogs have they purposely get metal teeth because it makes them bite harder or what which is total bullshit. They only have metal teeth if there's a problem the same way you and I do, and it doesn't impact how hard or what it feels like getting bit one way, shape, or form in any other regard. But so ones like that are laughable, but they're out there and there's plenty of them. But something like this has the potential to be relatively damaging, in a number of ways, and it's absolutely false. There are absolutely no military working dogs that are left behind, period, especially in a combat zone, but period. And, the unfortunate part about it is that, what I think happened is he took a string of information and was either lazy and didn't do his, due diligence in researching what it actually stems from, or where it originated, or he has some sort of hidden agenda. He wants to be the squeaky wheel and get people to listen to him. I mean, I don't know what it is, but where I can only imagine that the piece of information was misconstrued is that it is two main points. Is that number one, so military working dogs, once they are retired or deemed essentially unfit to continue to serve for whatever that reason is, whether it's old age, lack of proficiency, combat stress-related issues, etc. Whatever issue they have that deems them, needing to be retired, they get retired to their home base. Which he uses home in the article that they don't get brought home. And I think most people generally think of home as the continental United States. So an example would be, a Marine with a dog from Okinawa. That dog gets sent back to Okinawa if he's getting retired. From Okinawa, getting him back to the States, whoever adopts that dog, generally, at least the way I understand it, a lot of times can get, handed that bill, which I'll be the first one to admit, I think that is bullshit. To me, the dogs should be brought back, period. But if a handler from Okinawa decides, hey, I'm gonna adopt this dog, then he's on the hook to pay for it. Again, the way that I understand it. Does that make sense to me? No, it doesn't. But if there's one thing that I can assure you guys and everybody listening for that matter is there's not a single dog that it's like, well, sorry, buddy, your time's up here. We're just going to turn you loose at the foothills of the Hindu Kush and hope the best for you. Like, here's a Slim Jim, take care. It doesn't work that way, so that's number one, is that, the dogs get sent back to their home station, which isn't always, the continental United States. The second thing is and this is probably would be my guess, is where that came from. And just to take one step back, we actually, on our Facebook pages, we've helped, raise funds for guys, needing help with transporting their dogs back, which I'm happy to do. But again, I think, if a military member or any civilian for that matter, is willing to adopt a dog, I don't think they should have to pay for it. I think Uncle Sam could probably, kick Columbia in the balls a couple of $100 and send one of our dogs back, or any of the other assholes that we give money to that don't deserve it. That's a previous episode. Anyway, the other issue that can come up, that he may have gotten some story from, and I don't know without talking to him and seeing where he got his information from, but is the civilian sector. If a government contractor working for any of the host of different contractors that exist, as a single purpose bomb dog and is overseas with it, that's a completely different ball game. Even with those guys, those dogs aren't getting left. They're not just, again, in the same context of a military or DOD dog. They're not just saying, well, hey, sorry, buddy. Now, if there's issues of, dogs being mistreated or issues happening, I'm not aware of every single working dog in every civilian contractor capacity, but, having said that, I will say that, anybody who's ever handled a dog, loves dogs, has an enormous, special and very significant bond with that animal. And, unlike, say Vietnam, for example, where, yes, without question, there's a huge black eye on the U.S. military and the U.S. government across the board, the way, dogs were considered equipment back then, literally. And a lot of them were left there, legitimately and factually, were left in country, which is absolute bullshit. But that was in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, where it started happening, and then throughout the close of the conflict, it continued to. But ever since then, nothing like that has happened, and especially post 9/11. Dogs are not considered equipment. I've seen that in a lot of places where, and I don't know if it's because they're issued a number that they're considered equipment, which, so are we in the form of a Social Security number. We all have our service numbers the same way they do. It's a way to identify them, and that is it. But they're not referred to or considered pieces of equipment by the Department of Defense, U.S. military, any branch of service, that I've ever come across, whether it be literature or reports or in any kind. My hope is that dispels any of the myths or rumors. There's been a lot of them here lately, that are just not correct. I can assure you with 100% accuracy that no U.S. military working dog gets left behind, overseas or otherwise.
Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to have you on. And as I'm reading this email, it says because dogs are classified as equipment, the military is allowed, and the military is allowed to abandon them in conflict zones, which you and I know is crazy. But I said, okay, I got to have Mike on the show and talk about this, because this is something that will spiral out of control, and these emails will get sent around, and people get all spun up for no good reason. It's like don't believe everything that you see on the internet or our emails, because this comes from a pretty legitimate source. Apparently, this Care to petitions team is sending this stuff out, and anyway,
it's because of the article that Jonah Goldberg wrote, who is part of two big organizations. To me, just like when CNN or Fox or larger name companies screw up, they should clarify that. They really should. I think that, to me, that's, an organization that big, should have better accountability in terms of vetting their sources and information and making sure that it's legit. Everybody makes mistakes, but, to me, at a minimum, they should correct it and, and issue some sort of statement that says, hey, we got this wrong and here's the real deal.
Absolutely, because if you Google this article, it's still coming up. This Jonah Goldberg, no military dog left behind.
It's spooling people up, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to hit it and address it head on, because this could just get out of control, and it's just a big waste of energy for everybody. And whoever wrote that article, it'd be nice to put him in a bite suit down in Dallas and have one of those retired conflict zone dogs chew on him for a bit, just to put a little reality,
Well, it would be Jonah Goldberg.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But anyway, hey, Mike, I know you're with your family, so we'll let you get back.